Today, you are about to experience a life where the world decides your face is your destiny and spends decades refusing to see your mind. You were born in Vienna in 1914 into a comfortable Jewish family. The city is a crossroad of empire and art, music and machinery. You are given the name Hedwig Kiesler. From the beginning, you are more than one thing. You are intelligent, curious about how things work, and drawn to performance. Your father walks with you through the streets and explains how a streetcar moves. Your mother fills the house with music and manners. You learn early that a question can be more interesting than an answer. Vienna between wars is elegant and uncertain. You are a child with dark hair, wide-set eyes, and a hunger to know how things work. You perform for guests, invent small theatrical scenes, then disappear into your father's explanations of engines, gears, and the flow of electricity. The world begins to notice your face before it notices anything else. You enter European film while still young. The camera loves you, and the industry says that is enough. Your beauty brings attention quickly. At first, attention feels like opportunity. Then attention becomes a kind of cage. Directors frame your face. Producers sell your stillness. They rarely ask what you think. You are looked at constantly, but you are not listened to. You have two choices: accept the role other people have designed for you, or keep a private inner life that refuses to be defined by it. You choose to keep a private inner life. You continue reading, sketching, asking how a camera shutter or a chemical bath works. And that choice changes what the world thinks it knows about you. You become a performer who is also, secretly, an apprentice to machines. This decision does not make you safer. It makes you harder to read. In an industry that wants a face, a mind is an inconvenience. You learn to present one version of yourself to the lights and keep another version to yourself. The gap between those two versions will follow you for decades. Then Friedrich Mandl enters your life. He is a wealthy Austrian arms manufacturer, older, connected, used to control. The marriage offers you a castle of certainty, dresses, houses, power, protection. But there is a cost. You are not invited to be a partner. You are invited to be an ornament. You have two choices: accept the protection of a wealthy and controlling marriage, or refuse it and face a film world that has already begun to reduce you. You choose to marry. And that choice changes the shape of your days. You are no longer a young actress. You are a hostess, a collector's prize, a woman watched by servants and associates. Inside that world, Europe grows louder with danger. Mandel's meetings are filled with men who discuss weapons, aircraft, torpedoes, and radio control. You are expected to be silent, but you listen. You absorb the vocabulary of armament and communication. You understand that information can be intercepted, that a signal can be jammed, that a machine is only as reliable as its ability to speak without being overheard. Here is another choice. You have two choices: become a silent ornament in his gilded rooms, or use every dinner and every technical discussion as a private classroom. You choose the classroom. That choice changes you. You do not become an arms dealer. You become a person who understands that war is not only fought with steel, it is fought with signals. As Europe moves toward war, the luxury around you begins to feel like a cage with better curtains. You see what is coming. You know that your Jewish family is in danger, that Austria is being swallowed, that your husband's circles are close to powers you cannot trust. You have two choices: remain protected inside a wealthy but controlled life, or leave certainty behind and enter an unknown future. You choose to leave, and that choice costs you the comfort you have known. Later accounts differ on the details of how you crossed borders and boarded ships. What is certain is the leaving. You step away from the castle, from the marriage, from the expectation that you will stay. You reach the United States and enter Hollywood. A studio executive gives you a new name, one designed for marquees. The old world is behind you. The new world gives you a contract, a public image, and a place in the most glamorous machinery on earth. The premieres are bright. Studio contracts bind your time. Lighting technicians spend hours finding the precise angle that makes you luminous. Costume designers cut fabric to hold the eye. The public is fascinated. You become one of the most famous faces of Hollywood's golden age. But there is a loneliness in being marketed as an image. You stand at the center of a crowded premiere and understand that the crowd is looking at a reflection, not at you. Between takes, you are alone with your thoughts. You still take things apart. You still ask how systems work. The world rarely asks. This is a decision. You have two choices: protect the successful actress persona, or risk being dismissed by revealing how seriously you think about science, machines, and war. You choose to reveal it slowly, in private first. And that choice changes the distance between the woman in the light and the woman in the laboratory. The gap widens. You can be admired for your face and ignored for your mind in the same hour. You learn that glamour is a strange currency. It opens many doors, but it makes people assume you came only to be photographed. Then the Second World War begins for the United States. You decide that being admired is not enough. You want to help the Allied war effort. You join the machinery of war bonds and troop entertainment, because that is what stars are asked to do. But you also begin to think about a specific problem. A radio-controlled torpedo can be jammed if its frequency is discovered. In 1940, you meet George Antheil. He is an experimental composer, a man who thinks in rhythm and sequence. You are a movie star who thinks in systems and signals. The partnership looks unlikely from the outside. But the two of you share a recognition. Timing can be the difference between being heard and being intercepted. You talk about frequency, that if a transmitter and receiver jump together from one frequency to another, a signal becomes harder to follow. If the pattern of jumping is known only to the sender and receiver, an enemy cannot easily jam or detect the communication. George brings the image of player piano rolls, synchronized code. You bring the problem of torpedoes and radio control. You have two choices. Dismiss this collaboration because you are not an engineer and he is not a military man, or form an unlikely partnership and develop the idea. You choose to work together. And that choice changes what the world thinks it knows about you, even if the world does not yet know. You give time to the invention. You work after studio hours. Through the pressure of contracts and public appearances, IT is not a hobby. It is a serious attempt to solve a wartime problem. You have another choice. You have two choices. Use your public image only to entertain and sell war bonds, or invest time and reputation in an invention that powerful people may not take seriously because it comes from an actress. You choose the invention, and that choice places your mind directly against the era's most comfortable assumption, that a beautiful woman cannot also be a serious inventor. In 1941, you and George Antheil file for a patent. The filing describes what you call a secret communication system. In 1942, U.S. patent number 2,292,387 is issued under the legal name Hedwig Kiesler marquee. The technique is not magic. It is a synchronization system in which radio communication hops across frequencies according to a shared pattern. The military does not use the original system during the Second World War. You do not profit from it during your lifetime. The invention sits in a file while the war continues. This is one of the sharpest reversals of your life. The public sees a glamorous actress. The serious technical idea receives little recognition at the time. You have two choices. Retreat into the safety of the star image and never mention the invention again, or keep the private knowledge that you tried to solve a problem larger than your own fame. You choose to keep that knowledge. And that choice does not change how the world treats you, but it changes how you carry yourself through the years. The public narrative continues. Premieres, magazine covers, studio lighting. You are among the most admired women on earth, and yet the thing you most want people to see is invisible. You are looked at constantly. You are listened to rarely. Hollywood changes. The studio system tightens and then fractures. The roles grow fewer or more complicated. Career pressure rises. Personal isolation settles in. Fame does not protect you from time. The difference between public fame and being truly understood becomes a wide, quiet corridor. You have two choices: become bitter about the mismatch between your image and your mind, or continue to think, build, and observe even when no one asks. You choose to keep thinking, and that choice does not erase the loneliness, but it gives it a shape you can endure. You live through decades in which the name on the marquee remains luminous while the woman behind it becomes a footnote. Your beauty is remembered. Your technical work is not. You watch other minds take credit for the digital century that will later grow from secure communications, and you remain patient in a way that is almost unbearable. The later years are not a tabloid story. They are quieter, smaller, marked by the gap between what the public believes it knows and what you actually carried. You are not broken by the gap, but you are tired of it. You do not stop thinking. Then recognition arrives late. In 1997, the Electronic Frontier Foundation acknowledges your contribution to the history of communications. You are still alive to hear it, though the world has spent most of your life not listening. The acknowledgement is not a victory over time, but it is a signal finally received. More recognition follows after your death. In 2014, you were inducted posthumously into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. The frequency hopping technique you helped develop is now recognized as an important development in the history of secure wireless communications. It is not that you invented Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, or all modern wireless technology. It is that you saw a problem, shaped an idea, and filed it into a world that was not ready to see you as both. Now the ending returns to the opening theme. You have lived a life in which the world decided your face was your destiny and spent decades refusing to see your mind. You have been framed, admired, ignored, controlled, escaped, renamed, marketed, underestimated, and finally recognized. The cost of being looked at but not listened to has been real. The choice to keep thinking anyway has been the only answer you could give. Congratulations, you have lived the life of Hedy Lamarr.